Lately, I've been microdosing and I want to talk about that. I'm going to do my best to describe how microdosing has been supporting me, why I'm taking it, and what has been happening for me. If you've seen my other videos, you know that that's what this channel is about is utilizing psilocybin mushrooms mostly as a medicine. And so I talk about macrodosing as well as microdosing. And when I first started, I would use mushrooms recreationally a while back. And then when COVID happened and everything went into a lockdown in 2020, I started to help a friend of mine grow mushrooms and learned a lot about it, a lot about the organism itself, as well as down the rabbit hole I went into researching and using them and figuring out all of these different methods and why and all the things. I microdosed a while back then, especially while I was learning and I was helping other people and I really wanted to understand more and more about it. So what best way to do to understand something but to have personal experience? So my personal experience in that time really shifted everything that I knew about it. And especially with microdosing, because it's different in how we perceive the support that we're getting from the psychedelic. So with when you're taking big mushroom journeys or doing a lot of mushrooms, it's very evident and obvious what's happening because you go into a psychedelic space or your body feels weird and there's a lot of different symptoms and a lot of different things that happen. When you're microdosing, the microdosing amount is meant to be subperceptual if you're going to do it for a regimen. Some people like to feel a little bit of the mushroom, and so it's not necessarily subperceptual. And they like to do it potentially on weekends so they can feel a little bit of the goodness in that experience. And that's different from what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is doing microdosing on a subperceptual level for a period of time in order to support my system with the changes that are happening. So I had taken quite a big break on microdosing, a couple of years actually, of just not microdosing because it's not meant to be something that you do all the time, really. Until recently, I decided to go ahead and work with the mushrooms again. And so I'm going through a lot of different changes. Number one, I started a new business separate from this channel. And I'm also in Mexico City now. And so I'm learning Spanish. So, learning a new language. I'm living in a new country. I'm creating a new community out here. And I've also decided to be more vocal about the mushrooms and the support that I do here on this channel and on social media in general. So, with that, I decided this was a really good time for me to microdose because I just kept running into a few things that felt like they were a real drag. And um, there's a lot of stresses as well that comes with a lot of change. So, I decided to microdose. So I started a few weeks ago and I microdose 3 to 4 times a week. And like I said, this is a subperceptual amount. So I can't tell. In fact, most of the time, like today, I really have to think, did I take a microdose today? Like, yes, I do remember taking it, but I don't feel any different. But there are some signs, and the things that do feel different are so subtle that it's easily missed if you're not paying attention. So I want to talk a little bit deeper about that. One of the things that I've been challenged to do in this time is to show up on social media more. And that has been, if you're doing that yourself, there's some struggles and some resistance around doing that. And it's an easier place for me to see and feel the difference with microdoses in my system. So with the microdoses in my system, there's less resistance. And you might have heard that phrase before, but what does that really mean? And for me, it means that on any given moment, for example, today, I had already done a bunch of posts for my other business. I had designed a few graphics. I had started to learn a new program. I worked on some of my Spanish. There's so many things that I've already done. On a normal day, when it got to this time, the sun is going down, I would have been like, oh man, okay, well, I'm finished for the day. And I don't know what to say, and I'm not really sure what to do here on YouTube, so maybe I'll just put it aside for tomorrow. Rather than doing that, which would have been potentially my old pattern, and even when I do show up and I do those things, there's still a level of, am I doing it right? And there's this resistance is feels like sometimes mental blocks of I just can't think of anything to say. I just not sure what to do. And or perfectionism can get in the way of like, oh, this just isn't good enough. I don't really like the way this looks. I don't like the way that looks. So there's these things that we can call resistance because it creates a pressure of getting something done. And this isn't just about work or social media. This shows up anywhere. For example, we ran out of dish soap today and had to go get some more. So there were some dishes. And in the middle of doing a project, I went to go to the kitchen and instead of just looking at the dishes and thinking, okay, I'll do these when I'm done with my project, I just went ahead and got some done. And then I came back to my project and I'm able to keep going. This is just a very small example of something that can occur on a daily basis. It's should I walk the dog instead of waiting till later? I could just do that right now. Maybe I should order the new art supplies that I was looking for. Oh, I don't really want to, right? So there's all of these steps, all of these tasks, and our task list probably go on forever. And when I'm microdosing, it just feels easy to just do one thing at a time. For example, like I said, starting this YouTube. This is a time of day where I feel, okay, I'm drained normally. I'm done with work. I'm done doing all my chores or things. And so I just want to relax. My phone was dead. I didn't know what to talk about. I ran into a very small moments where I could have gotten myself off the hook from doing this video. But instead, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to plug my phone in while I go get myself ready and get what I need. And then I'm just going to talk about how I feel. And so here we are. So that amount of relaxed effort, it doesn't feel like I'm putting effort. I'm really just feel like I'm flowing with from one thing to another. And it feels very easy on my nervous system where I'm not really working hard and then I'm gonna crash. It doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. And when I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and upload it. And when I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and start the editing process. And I'm going to continue because I feel that I have the capacity to do so. And even when I don't have the capacity to do this or more technical things, it might be something else, like in the morning. Rather than waking up and getting straight to it, I decide to stop and take a few moments to myself. I might decide to do a meditation later rather than scrolling on my phone or on social media. I may decide to jump into a project. And this has been happening with me all week long, where instead of doom scrolling, I might actually just turn off the phone, do a little meditation, light a candle, think about what my goals are for the next day, start a new project, hang the art that I've been meaning to hang, go and fold the clothes that haven't been folded, reorganize a shelf in the kitchen. There's so many different tasks and things that I just find myself naturally doing without all of this, oh gosh, I don't want to. We kind of have the mental drama potentially. And it's just that it just isn't there. And I feel more motivation. And I know what my goals are for myself, my underlying goal to have a healthy and happy life. And I understand where some of those things that we do may not be supporting that, or we could be doing more. Helping my partner bring in the groceries, cook dinner, doing all of these things can be supportive. So, why this is helpful and why I'm microdosing, besides the science of it, which I've talked about in previous videos, I'm also absorbing more language learning. So I can tell that my ability to recall and absorb new language is happening at an easier pace. I'm getting more work done, which incrementally I am on a new trajectory because I am able to just get more things done, honestly. And it feels very supportive. And as soon as I'm really done looking at this task, I will move on to something else. But moving on to something else doesn't mean that I'm just now doom scrolling. It just means that I have more of a choice on how I want to spend my time. And that time might not be spent working or doing something productive, but it could be. So, if you're ever curious about microdosing, I hope that this is supportive in understanding how it could support you. I am more attentive to my health and wellness. I took my vitamins this morning. I made sure I ate a healthy meal that has vegetables in it. I didn't succumb to just ordering out. I there's little things like this will add up, and I'll be microdosing for a couple of months while I'm in this transition, and because I know I am microdosing, it gives me even more of an opportunity to utilize it to the best of my ability. Meaning, I know that I'm working with this beautiful sacred medicine, and I am intentionally learning more Spanish in that time and making sure that I take time to listen and study. I am working on this YouTube channel and getting more information out there, learning how to create more presence, learning how to edit, learning new programs, doing more designs. There's so many things on, but it doesn't feel hard. And I think that makes the biggest difference. I don't feel completely crashed at the end of the day. I feel generally in a good mood. I am not having emotional swings and ups and downs. It really feels like consistent, effortless movement into my goals. And this is such a key because I would not have made as many videos had I not been microdosing. I would not have put as much effort into my own wellness in these last few weeks had I not been microdosing. And it's not that I can't do it, right? We all can do it. The microdosing just helps to release my nervous system from feeling really down or really anything. Like the resistance, like I keep saying, is really a huge issue. When I see myself starting to go down a habit pattern of, well, I'm just gonna go lay on the couch, I am checking myself, is this something that I wanna do? Yeah, sure. If it's not, then it's like, no, why don't I just go do a project instead? Or why don't I journal instead? That actually feels more supportive. So I'm actively checking in and making sure that I'm doing what feels good for me. I know that this is helping me get through the things that I needed some support with. I hope it helps to bring some of that information into real world scenario where this could be helpful. And you can ask yourself, where in your life do you feel that you are falling short? Or where do you feel that you wish you had more capacity to do? Maybe supporting your partner with their projects. Maybe you have all the art supplies to start a new project but haven't started it. Maybe you're trying to start your own YouTube channel and just haven't gotten there. So when things like perfectionism get in the way, oh man, I'm just going to do this and then I'm going to post it and I'm just not going to worry about it and then I'm going to do it again. And it's just, you can ask yourself these questions, and maybe this will help you determine how microdosing could be supportive for you, or where you could just be doing something differently in your day to support yourself regardless.